Good afternoon, everyone, and good morning to those of you joining us on the West Coast today. Cibson would like to welcome you to today's second webinar in our webinar series, Effective and Affordable Comp Plans for Strategic Accounts. Now I'd like to introduce our presenter. We have Sheila McCarthy, who is our senior consultant, and now I'd like to turn it over to Sheila.
Thanks so much, Liza, and thanks to all of you for attending today. As you may know, this is the second in a series of 3 webinars that we're conducting in this summer time frame, and we like to affectionately call it Sales Comp 201, and that's in reference that these are some of the more challenging issues that we see our clients faced with day to day. And so this discussion that we'll have today is about creating comp plans for strategic accounts that are both effective and affordable. And, creating those in the same plan is not often an easy task. So let's go ahead and, for those of you that are new to Cibson and new to joining us, thank you very much, and just give you a quick overview of who we are. You might have had experience in the past with similar HR consulting firms. We're just like that. We have our practices that span all of the human capital practices, from organ talent to broad-based rewards, executive comp. I happen to be a representative of the sales effectiveness practice. I've been doing this work for 15 years and have had experience across many of our largest clients, including the list that you see here. And perhaps some of you will even see your companies on this list as we've done work with you. So thanks for continuing our relationship with you. You might notice something interesting about this list, and it has a heavy bent towards the high-tech and software industries and telecommunications, and that's a big part of what we do. We do work across all industries, but I would say my experience and those of many I work with are primarily centered around those industries, and that's good basis and knowledge for the discussion that we're going to be having today, because it's in those industries that we often see strategic accounts. And what you'll find today is that we want to bring a new definition of strategic accounts to the table that is primarily seen in those industries where products and services and solutions are changing rapidly, that the old tradition of strategic accounts just being your largest accounts doesn't always hold true. Quite often, strategic accounts are your emerging accounts or accounts that have a high propensity to buy what you consider your strategic products, whether those are high revenue generators or not. So we'll be discussing that today. Before we get into the specific meat of the presentation, just want to take a step back and lay some foundation. Again, those of you who have been with Cibson for a while, you've probably seen these charts and you know what we're about to say, but I think it always is a good idea to kind of go back and understand what the context is for what we're working with. Although today's presentation does primarily focus on sales compensation, as we all know, sales compensation doesn't happen in a vacuum. It is not the tail that wags the dog, but rather it's part of a bigger ecosystem for running the sales practice. And you'll see here that there's 4 main buckets in what we call the growth management system, or the way that companies organize, direct, organize, execute, and support to actually achieve their growth objectives. So very important in the very beginning is the direction of the organization, how the overall business strategies are funneled down into a marketing strategy, into product decisions, into looking at the customer and segmenting those customers. And this is where the conversation for today really begins to start, is how do we segment our customers and actually identify what are strategic accounts, who deserves what we call that special treatment of strategic account coverage. And then also, what is the sales strategy for those strategic accounts? It's important to know, are these accounts that we're looking to grow? Are they accounts where simply they're so large and aren't growing, but we simply need to retain them because they're so strategic to our business in terms of sheer volume? Or are they strategic accounts in the strategy vein that we want to acquire, because what they bring to the party dovetails nicely with where we're going in the future as a company? And then the next decision to make is how to organize around that opportunity. And so we'll talk a bit today about the roles. And so you'll see there in the middle of the second column sales and service roles. So we'll talk specifically about strategic account roles, which, as you know, if you're dealing with them now, are a very complex, again, ecosystem of different types of roles and responsibilities and people potentially geographically located around the world working together to service these accounts.